Welcome, everybody, to this Harland Clarke sponsored podcast. My name is Steve Nikitas. I am a senior strategist with Harland Clarke, and today we are going to talk about how to harness analytics in your financial services world. We have with us today a special guest from Forrester. Her name is Srividya Sridharan, who is an analyst there, and Sri is going to talk about putting analytics to work at your bank or credit union. Sri?
Thanks for the introduction, Steve. I'm very happy to share my thoughts today on harnessing analytics across the customer life cycle. So today, I'm going to take you through how analytics has become increasingly critical for organizations to invest in and understand. Then we're going to look at how you can apply analytics across the customer life cycle. And then I'll wrap up with how you can start building capabilities in your organization to prepare for this analytics wave. So most organizations today have learned to capture and store information about customer needs, wants, and preferences, and are grappling with a deluge of data. They almost have too much of data and information about their customers, and they struggle to make use of that information to improve marketing programs. But interestingly, the data is not the biggest obstacle. It's the lack of understanding on how to use analytics to improve business and drive positive outcomes. So although data analysis is not always considered a strategic priority, failing to derive business insights from data can result in lost revenue, in lost confidence and compliance problems or customer dissatisfaction. So in the face of these challenges, analytics is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. Some of the leading companies that have recognized this necessity for analytics are reaping the benefits of data-driven marketing. Traditionally, financial services and the retail verticals have been pioneers in customer analytics just because of the sheer amount of data available to these companies. But other companies are also widely adopting analytics in their marketing. Best Buy, for example, segments its customer base based on profitability to drive store footfalls. Harrah's, on the other hand, mines customer data to increase the share of gaming revenues. Walmart actually used analytics to understand pre-hurricane trends in Florida and then stock up, with the necessary products. And Capital One, which is a financial services company, actually maps the customer behavior to increase their cross-sell percentages. And lastly, ESPN, which is a seemingly unlikely candidate for analytics, actually identified the drivers of fan value and used that information to increase their engagement with their fans. So clearly, these companies are realizing the value of that analytics can bring to their marketing. So how does analytics touch the customer life cycle? Traditionally, marketing has always been about the funnel, with the focus on acquisition and feeding the top of the funnel, and with the hope that it will ultimately drive conversion. Forrester thinks that it's time to bury the funnel and move to a customer life cycle model where the firm nurtures the entire relationship with the customer. There is no start or finish to that relationship. This customer life cycle actually consists of 4 stages. Discover, where the customer is just discovering the brand or product caused by some trigger on their end. Then they explore the brand as well as other competitive options where essentially they're window shopping. After that, they actually make the purchase and experience the order process. And finally, they start engaging with the brand through customer service and repeat usage. So in order to gain customer understanding and insight through the life cycle, you need analytics to drive those decisions. We're defining customer analytics as the process of collecting, integrating, analyzing, and utilizing raw data to create actionable customer insight. So these insights can provide ways to identify opportunities to improve the customer experience and increase customer value and profitability. So this process, we feel, typically progresses through 3 maturity stages. It starts with customer analysis and reporting, where organizations are trying to find insight from historical behaviors, analyzing what customers did in the past. So some of the tools that they normally use are RFM analysis, marketing mix modeling, or market basket analysis. The next stage is customer profiling, where they progress into understanding a little bit more about their customers, who they are, why they behaved the way they did. And some of the techniques used in this stage are segmentation, customer lookalike models, cluster analysis. And I think Harland Clarke has a specific product that caters to this stage. Right, Steve?
Correct. Yeah, let me just add in here, Sri, that in a former life, while I was the marketing VP at a financial institution in New York, I was heavily reliant on Harland Clarke's Strategists program, through which I was able to analyze the needs of our customer base and really stay ahead of what their product and service needs were, so that I could very cost effectively communicate with them and really take a very proactive approach at understanding what their product needs were and when they were going to come about. The wonderful thing about Strategists was it was a turnkey solution, ready to go, and allowed me in a very, very timely fashion to reach out to our customer base and really bring a lot of business into the financial institution relative to making sure that our loan portfolios and our deposit portfolios were growing according to our plan.
Great. That's a great example of the customer profiling stage. And the final frontier in customer analytics is driving insight into future behavior. So what customers will do in the future, where you can control churn, and some of the tools that can help you do that are affinity models, attrition models, cross-sell, upsell models, and lifetime value analysis. So how do these actually relate back to the life cycle? At the discover and explore stage, you want to be able to target the right offer to the right prospect at the right time, and also be efficient in the process. The analytics techniques at this stage will be very different from those you will use in the retention stage or in the engagement stage, where the objective is actually to grow that existing relationship and drive more value from existing customers. And to this effect, in financial institutions specifically, the onboarding process becomes very vital. And Steve, please elaborate on that onboarding process.
Certainly. Thank you, Sri. Relative to onboarding, I always found onboarding was a great time to really not only to firmly establish that relationship with a new customer or a new member, but also to deepen that relationship as well. We know, for example, that in our world, that 90 to 120, maybe 150-day period is when most consumers are buying additional financial products and services. It's a great honeymoon period, and while in my former life I was heavily reliant on Harland Clarke's onboarding program, not only to take advantage of that honeymoon period and use it as a time to cross-sell additional products and services, but just as importantly, to help build awareness of the products and services that my financial institution offered, and secondarily, to help create a member experience or a customer experience that was far different from what other enterprises do with their new customers or their new members, and it gave me an opportunity to really keep that level of engagement at an extremely high point throughout the early days of that new customer or new member period.
Right, and that process doesn't also end at the onboarding process, right? There are many tools and techniques that you can use throughout the relationship, like loyalty analysis or incident analysis, where you're designing programs to actually, deepen that relationship, as you mentioned.
Absolutely.
So depending on where the organization is in its customer analytics journey that I highlighted in the previous slide, some of these techniques, may be more applicable than others. So by using these analytical techniques in decision support, financial institutions are benefited in a number of ways, and I've just highlighted a few ways over here. You can preempt customer behavior and plan, for example, the changing channel preferences of customers. You can reduce customer risk and detect fraud, or even plan for new products using product propensity models. You can optimize marketing programs using insight from response models. And you can also help the sales team with their pipeline management through lead scoring techniques. So these are just a few benefits, but there are innumerable benefits that analytics can bring to financial institutions. But the key is to know when and how to leverage these tools into business decision making. So to help you think about how you can effectively adopt customer analytics, there is a framework to go about your planning process. So first start with understanding your customers, progressing through the 3 stages of analytics maturity. Then determine what the business performance drivers are. Do you want to attract new customers? Do you want to grow existing relationships or improve share of wallet? These business drivers then map to the customer life cycle and then your choice of analytical methods that make sense at that particular stage of the customer life cycle. And then the insight generated from the analysis should ultimately embed into actionable business outcomes that drive growth and profitability. And Steve, Harland Clarke also somewhat fits into this framework, right?
It absolutely does. And as a strategist now for Harland Clarke, one of the things that I strongly recommend to our clients is to utilize that account opening period as an opportunity during that needs-based analysis where we're finding out where our customer and our member needs are. But as part of that whole exercise, to really get into the overall customer or member life cycle. And as part of the Harland Clarke approach to life cycle marketing, we want to know not only what products they have, but let's also get information on what products and services they might have at other financial institutions. Let's find out how they want to be communicated with, through what channels would they like us to communicate with them, and also through what channel might they indeed want to obtain future products and services. So part of the overall look at a customer or a member life cycle is really more than just obtaining my future product or service needs, but let's delve a little bit more deeply into that and find out those additional things, where other products are located, how they want to be communicated, through what channels, how they'd like to open their products, through what channels, indeed, who is the key person that's going to be managing that particular account. All important information that we need to gather in order to make our marketing efforts a whole lot more effective and to stretch our marketing dollars, which are always under pressure, but to stretch those marketing dollars as far as we can.
And clearly this is a very complex process. And given that this journey is complex, how do organizations actually get started in this process? So some of the best practices that Forrester recommends to build a robust customer intelligence philosophy in your organization revolves around customer data, technology, people, and processes. So start with creating a centralized data asset along with a repository of analytical methods available that you have at your disposal. On the people front, identify a customer intelligence evangelist who actually will demonstrate the value of customer intelligence and analytics throughout the organization, and also help build the skills required to build such a team. On the process front, ensure a transparent problem-solving methodology before getting into the actual data mining process. And on the technology front, build your business requirements before actually selecting a tool or a vendor. So collectively, with these best practices across data, people, technology, and processes, you can prepare for building an analytically strong organization.
Thank you, Sri. It sounds like this was great information. This sounds like it's certainly something that we can use going forward. And really the last thing I want to leave everybody with is think of analytics not as simply a point in time, but really as a journey that you can use throughout that entire customer or member lifecycle period. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us. And Sri, I'd like to thank you for all of your expert knowledge.
Thank you, Steve.